The king of an empty castle. Lowly Smith Street wanderer, quelled fully under cruel iron rule, drags his heels for piteous meals, always deemed the insignificant fool. Each day he goes out to misery, rubble and rust at his feet, working long days so the fire stays, so he doesn't collapse in total defeat. Taking the pickaxe from the door he walks, the streets swarm with unhappy souls that swell. From the shadows a man takes him and quietly declares, "It's time this power fell." Dressed to exaggerate all that he is, a crooked smile and a piercing glare, seemingly open but refusing to share. This is a man that knew how to get what he wanted. Night and day you work for them, each hour the same, working to line the pockets of the wealthy, forcing the pain. Is it really worth it? Now tell me. A simple one-track lane, guiding you to your demise, you can see. A token cup of grain, keeping you in your chains and claiming you're free. Rise to the fame. Do what others need and answer their plea. The miner considered where he stood and what little he had to gain. He was completely bored of the monotony. He loved his family, but they bored him too. He wanted something new. "How can I do it?" he asked. "Splendid, boy, though you have everything you need." The boy knew what he should do next. "The next generation I will lead." The boy strode to the mine at a quickened pace, his pickaxe feeling light and ready to be swung. He saw the master with a few investors on site. "It would be a mercy to have you hung." Little did he know the master was kind, bringing investors to increase his miner's pay. He knew of their struggles and misery. He set foot to change their destinies on that day. The boy held no hesitation and charged at the master, swinging wildly in hopes of landing a lethal hit. The master's face widened in horror and fear. He turned to run, but found nowhere to go, so tried to fight it. All the while, the boy was screaming, "Pay us a cheap wage to line your pockets, wealthy. You force the pain and give us little grain. You claim that we're free. I will rise to the fame and do what others plea." The boy lunged, but missed the master. The master pushed him to the side to try and rush back. "Today I could do something for you. I beg you don't attack." But the boy couldn't truly hear his words. He knew he wanted revenge. But despite years of the pain, all others were tame. "Can't you all see it? Cowards?" The boy took chase and swung again, but again missed once more. He called for his co-workers to join him, but no one moved. The boy screamed again, "You're the guilty one. There's nothing you can say. Point your finger at all of us, but we will get our way." The master had fallen on his retreat. The boy now stood over him and loomed above. raising the pickaxe and with a fury that's full, crashed it down upon his skull. The master lay cold and unflinching. The investors screamed and cried out, "Sir!" The boy looked at his kill and the sickening thrill until a voice called out, "Murderer!" Upon this call, he was taken to the ground. The murderer gazed around. Surrounded on every side he found. The loud voices screamed and shouted a haunting sound. "You're the guilty one. There's nothing you can say. You can point your finger at any of us, but you won't get your way." The murderer was dragged before a court, sentenced to a life of imprisonment without the chance of parole. The murderer held strong the whole trial long, but the judge and jury saw his corrupted soul. Leaving the court, others glared, but all kept safely away. His crime had earned a nickname that taught all who knew that Pick leads the demons that way. During visiting hours, his family came to see what was bereft and if anything was left. But his son, only angry he could be. "You're the guilty one. There's absolutely nothing you can say. Point your finger at the other guy, but you have completely lost your way." The son left in tears, and his mother took his place. Her face looked drawn, but overcome with scorn. She called another man to the empty space, wearing a large hat and hiding his face. "You are now the one that is forcing this pain. With all sense being the same, this wasn't really worth it now. Tell me. This was only ever a one-track lane. It's guided you to your death. Can you see? You have risen to infamy, but have answered no one's plea." The man removed his hat to remove any exaggeration, revealing a crooked smile and piercing glare. Triumph in his eyes as Pick falls and cries. For he knew this man had orchestrated his despair. A week later, he stood in his cell. Upon a stool he planted his feet. Pick acquired a rope from an officer who despised his crime. Tied a noose for the neck it was destined to meet. He considered and rejected his past regrets, holding firm to his implanted cause. To him, there was nothing left but these foreign ideals. He knew it had killed him, believing in that man's words, but he took a brief pause before leaving, taking the time to enjoy the powers of thought one last time. I am the guilty one, and there's nothing left I wish to say. I'll end my life quite happily. I will get my way.